That's Attorney Mike Gravel coming to you from Chicago. Today we're going to talk about Better Call Saul, Season 5, Episode 3. It's called The Guy for This, and I'm the guy to break this down. Let's do it. At the end of the last episode, we see Nacho take Saul right out of court, right after he gets out of court, and drives him off for some mystery adventure. Well, it turns out he's taking him to Lalo, and Lalo's got a job for him.
A legal problem. Fantastic. So, just for a minute there, I thought I was going to be swallowing condoms filled with heroin.
Turns out Lalo wants to use Saul to talk to somebody who's in prison, and it's a pretty interesting assignment, and it gives me a chance to talk about law stuff.
But the cops can't know it's coming from us. So we send you in there, you tell them how to do it, and they can't listen. Attorney-client confidentiality.
All right, the interesting law stuff here from my perspective is they want him to go and see somebody who's in the Department of Corrections. And there's a little distinction here between the Department of Corrections and jail. Again, it's New Mexico. I was a prosecutor in Illinois a long time ago. But generally speaking, if you're talking about the Department of Corrections, that's what you think of as prison. That's where felons go. That's where if your sentence is over a year, that you go to prison. If it's under a year, that's usually a misdemeanor, and you're usually in the county lockup. And in order to get somebody in there, an attorney would work. We find out later that somebody who hasn't been in very long, I don't know why they would be in the Department of Corrections that fast, but maybe that's the way it works. I don't know. I would usually think they'd just be in the lockup, like the county lockup, until trial, or they really get charged with convicted of something to put them in the Department of Corrections. But maybe I'm missing the point here. They're all focused on attorney-client privilege. That helps. Yes, they can speak and then they don't have to disclose it. That's lovely, but there's no guarantee that they have privacy while they're speaking. Let's start with that. And the bigger issue is really access, and that's so they hire him. If he enters an appearance to defend him, then yes, he's going to have access to go in and speak with this person in prison. Realizing that he's really got no choice in the matter, Saul goes and starts a negotiation as to his fees for this project.
My rates have gone up, so going this way could be expensive. How expensive? It's expensive.
I love this bit. On the fly, Jimmy comes up with a very specific number as to what his fees are going to be. This puts me in mind of settling a claim with State Farm. They do this to you. They'll call you up and you'll say, why don't you pay me $50,000? And they'll say, our first offer is $26,432.16.
Do the math. It's like $7,925. Yeah.
Well, Mike is still having a hard time with the whole Werner situation, which is understandable. He had to kill somebody that he liked. But he goes and gets drunk to try to blow off some steam, and he's kind of ornery at the bar. But on the way home, this is sort of fun. Some neighborhood guys decide to pick on the wrong person.
Oh, they talk to you like that? Hold up, Gramps.
This next little bit is Kim telling Saul that she's all excited because tomorrow all she's got are pro bono clients. And I just can't really relate to this. I've done some pro bono work. It means you're working for free. I don't find it particularly exciting because somebody is not paying me or is paying me. It's really more the work. It does help if you have a special fondness for the particular client or something, but I just don't have this. And there's that's a whole stream that runs through this show, which basically I'm going to ignore. She prefers to work for free for pro bono clients as opposed to work for Mesa Verde that's actually paying her bills. I just can't relate to it. Practicing law is practicing law. You either like it or you don't. That's the way I see it.
I'm sort of celebrating, actually.
Celebrating what?
I just realized I have all pro bono clients tomorrow, all day. No Mesa Verde.
And here we find out that Lalo wants Saul to speak with Crazy 8, who's in prison right now.
Who the hell are you?
I really like this next bit. It's just, I think it's the most important part of the show. It's very interesting, but probably the best part is we get to see Hank from Breaking Bad, and if you've seen Breaking Bad, and probably anyone who's seeing this has, it's like seeing an old friend, and he's just so Hank.
What if I know where there's $500,000 in drug money?
What if? What if?
Of course, this was all set up between Saul and Crazy 8 before the agents even showed up, but part of the deal is Saul comes in here to rain on the parade.
And you are?
Saul Goodman. I'm Mr. Molina's attorney, and you're in violation of his constitutional rights.
It's all good, man.
Of course, Saul can't get through this job without doing lots of very funny stuff.
Hey, the feds, well, what, they don't teach the Constitution at Quantico these days?
Yeah, Quantico is FBI.
I don't care. DEA, FBI, Department of Sanitation. It's time for you two gentlemen to vacate the premises.
If you like any of this content, the best way to support me and the channel is to hit like, subscribe, share with friends, and put some comments in the comment section below. Here, Crazy 8 is supposedly not listening to Saul and giving him a hard time.
Your client waived his right to an attorney.
Well, he most certainly did not.
Yeah, I did.
Zip it. Okay, nobody's talking to you.
No, he wants to talk to us.
He's confused, okay? He was dropped on his head as a child.
Oh, this is so good. Saul is really trying to sell this act, and Hank is not buying it.
My client is making what I believe to be a grave error. Also, showing a heartbreaking lack of faith in his attorney. And I'm not going to lie, it hurts.
Finally, they get down to brass tacks, and Saul is hammering out a deal for protection and and also to get his client off from charges for information. And it sets up this episode's favorite line.
You squeeze him out like a sponge, then you dump him back on the street. Word gets out that he's a fink, he ends up bleeding out in front of his mother's house.
What?
Yeah, it's not going to happen, okay? Do you hear what I'm saying?
After Saul sets up a deal and does everything that Lalo asks him to do, he goes out and explains to him
That, assuming the dead drops are a real thing, feds are going to be on him.
Feds?
Yeah, DEA. There's a matched pair of them, and they're into this with a vengeance. I mean, think feeding time in the lion cage.
Saul's hoping that's enough, and then he can be done with this business. So he tells Lalo that he doesn't want to do any more of this, and of course it doesn't work out for him.
One thing, you're going to have to find a different attorney for future endeavors because my schedule is just very, very tight.
You'll make time.
After all that, this is actually kind of a touching moment. Saul's saying, I don't want to be part of this to Nacho, and Nacho's like, yeah, believe me, I know all about it, but there's no getting out.
I mean, if there's going to be blowback, I don't want to be in the middle of it.
It's not about what you want. When you're in, you're in.
Of course, Lalo's whole plan was to use Crazy 8 to set up Gus and his crew and get the feds all over them and get them arrested. And here we see that Nacho reports this to Gus because, of course, Gus owns him. So he reports it to Gus, and Nacho's in a real difficult spot, as always.
You want to leave the money for the feds? If there's no money in those debt drops, Lalo will know.
The big takeaways for this are that Jimmy is back to his major problems with the cartel, and that he's having to represent them whether he wants to or not. Nacho, of course, is still in, and he's in between Lalo and Gus, and that's not a good place to be. However, at the very end, when Gus does back him and say, "I'm going to leave the money in there so that Lalo doesn't figure out that you told me this stuff," and that's where we leave it. Here at Law Talk, we do a lot of videos answering common legal questions. We also do reviews of law in the movies and then on TV. We also share some of our more interesting cases. We're always putting out new videos. So if you like that, please hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell.